Hey, dudes and dudettes, thanks for staying tuned for the last few weeks as I took a nice hiatus of procrastination and laziness. But we're back for another installment of Circus of Time Review movie news podcast, where we're celebrating a few things today. First of all, we're celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the podcast itself, not the channel, but the podcast. So I've been ambitious enough. Thank you. I've been ambitious enough to keep it going this long. So I think we can at least try to keep it going a little longer. And also, we have a new distinguished guest among us. So we'll do a quick introduction. Our new guest comes from us from their own podcast. And hold on, I'm getting a little feedback here. Oh, sorry. Our new guest comes from his own website and podcast, where you can find on their website, where they talk about nerdy, geeky stuff and also pop culture, where everything collides, as they like to say. So we have Oscar from Geeks Between Worlds podcast. Welcome, Oscar.
Hey man, thanks for having me on. This is awesome. I was so excited to be here. And yeah, your 1 year anniversary, that's huge for the podcast show that we're on right now. That's a lot of hard work, man. I know what it takes.
I appreciate it. Yeah, producing a show you don't think about when you watch other podcasts. Like when you do it by yourself, it's a lot more work than you expect.
A lot of time, a lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of stress as well, but hey, it's all worth it in the end.
It really
But yeah, so thanks again for showing up, and we'll do some promotions of the podcast here in just a little bit. But we just want to jump into some of the movie news we had. It's been a little bit of a slow week because we had Thanksgiving. Everyone's still eating their pumpkin pies. People are still deciding whether or not this leftover turkey is still good enough for them to eat at this point in time.
It's good enough. Eat it.
What's your cutoff? Would you cut off like today or Saturday?
I'm gonna say probably Monday. Monday, cutoff day. Because Sunday, there might not be anything in my fridge Sunday except that turkey, and I need to eat something.
That's true. You gotta celebrate Thanksgiving almost 2 football Sundays in a row. You had to have the turkey leg on one Sunday and the other turkey leg on the following Sunday.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Well, I usually give it a few days, but if you call it a week, I might have to push my luck. Just like with milk, we'll see if we can push it as long as we possibly can. But the first thing that we're going to get to, some of the movie news that did trickle in this week. The first one is about Alien Covenant. Basically, for Ridley Scott's 79th birthday, 20th Century Fox released a nice set photo of him doing some direction on the new movie, and also a poster of the upcoming movie with the release date of May 29th. Is that backwards? Can you see that backwards, or is it regular when I look at it?
That's perfect.
Cool. Just making sure. And so we have the release date. It was moved up, I believe, from more like a late August or late summer release to now it's May 19th, and we get the new poster. So what are I guess with Prometheus, have you seen it? And now if you have or haven't, what are your expectations for this movie?
Well, first off, this is a great first topic. I love Alien. I mean, Alien is my jam. I love Prometheus. Ridley Scott did try to go along and say that it wasn't an Alien movie, which I think
I think that was when Neil Blomkamp thought he was going to direct a movie too.
Yeah, and actually that movie is still supposedly in the works, Alien 5, so hopefully that comes. But what's nice about this Alien poster, this Covenant poster, is that it might be returning to that sci-fi horror roots, which is my personal favorite. I love the first Alien more than all of the other Alien movies. I love that dark type of mysterious, you didn't really see the creature, type of Spielberg-y type effect. And,
very ominous, like you said, lurking in the background, not in your face the whole time.
Yeah, unlike AVP and stuff like that. Yeah, but I think the end of this movie will be the beginning of Ripley's journey. Hopefully, maybe we'll see the Nostradamus come in and see the ship, and maybe we'll even see Sigourney Weaver's face. Kind of how they did with of Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War this year. They made him look crazy young.
Do that young CGI enhancement kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually getting a lot better. Marvel's done really a lot. With who was it? Michael Douglas and Ant-Man was really good too. They did the young face. So I agree with you. I think this is going to be a good comeback for Ridley Scott because he had a couple tumbles. He wasn't really producing as well. And then we had The Martian come out, and now everyone's like, "Oh, Ridley Scott's back." And so he stepped in right there for he did a great. I love The Martian, so when I saw that, I was like, oh man, Ridley Scott. And it's good to see directors get back into their groove as opposed to just just kind of still veering off like M. Night Shyamalan or something like that, who keeps still trying to find that path. But yeah, what's that?
M. Night Shyamalan, it's hard for him to get on that path, isn't it? It's just so you want to believe in the M. Night, and you still go and see the movie hoping that it's going to be great, and then you're still just so questionative about everything at the end.
Yeah, I still have friends who are still upset with me for me dragging them all the way to The Village back in like 2003 or 4. Yeah. They're like, "Why'd you make us come to this?" I was like, "I thought it's Sixth Sense, man. Like, I thought this was gonna be another, and so not so much, but yeah. So in regards to things you want to see in the movie, I hope there's some, questions that are answered that we were left open in Prometheus. Like, what are they going to the? They're going to the alien or the what do you want to call them? The engineers' home planet. Is that right?
Yeah. Supposedly we're going to go see where this big engineer came from. We learned a lot of their history in Prometheus. We had the two main characters finally leave off at the end. We had the scientist and the synth, which was played by Michael Fassbender. And can't get enough of Michael Fassbender. He's a fantastic actor.
And just his head, right? How it took off?
Yeah. So that'll be pretty interesting to see how they go with that. And, maybe David, I think his name is David in the movie, maybe he'll get a new body, something like that. So
I think that's probably what's going to happen. Like you said, they're going to be heading out to the engineer planet. David's going to get himself a new body. I think I heard there's even he's going to have a twin too. I think there's going to have two Davids. Hopefully it's not as weird as the two Woody Harrelsons and Now You See Me Too. I don't know if you've seen that.
That was a little weird.
I was like, holy shit, what is this?
Woody Harrelson on screen, it's enough Woody Harrelson as it is, and then you put two on screen, and you're like, whoa.
And you give him hair, it's even too much to look at it at one time with Woody Harrelson.
Vin Diesel with hair. Vin Diesel with hair just also isn't it.
I think the only picture I've seen Vin Diesel with hair is he actually had a fro. He had a nice little Jerry curl going. So yeah, we don't want to see our stars that are with hair. We just keep them bald, keep them the way they are. I guess what is one thing that you would like to see answered in the next movie that we got opened up in Prometheus?
I would like to see why the engineers did what they did. At the very beginning of Prometheus, you see him on what we predict is create life. I don't know if that's kind of what you got from the beginning of Prometheus, but that's kind of what it seemed like in a way.
When they landed on the planet, they opened up the little thing and put it in the water or whatever, and the guy drank the engineer drank it.
Yeah, and then he kind of dissolves himself into the water, and I assumed that he was creating life on the planet, and what that meant, and why these engineers want to create life on planets. And if maybe they knew that the trilobite and all those things existed, because it seemed like the engineer knew about the trilobite to some sense. And maybe these were an ancient feud in a way.
Yeah, and it kind of goes to the question of why were they creating these weapons? Who were they fighting against, or who are they trying to protect themselves from? In regards to all the planet, I guess all the shells or the casings that they had on the planet. I kind of wonder what their reasoning was for. Is it to destroy what they were creating? Like if the Earth wasn't, it's not what they wanted or they thought would be, so they're just like, oh, this is our way of destroying it. Which you would think maybe a giant laser would suffice, but
bring the Star Destroyer in there.
Yeah, they're doing it the long way, the long con. They want it to take 10 years for everyone to die off. Those are some of the things that I'm kind of hoping that we'll get to see. Like you said, at first Ridley Scott said that this wasn't going to have any connection to Alien, and now we have a full-on Alien on the poster. So
yeah, exactly.
It'll be interesting. So come May 19th, we'll see how it goes. But we're going to move on to the next order of business. We have Ivan Reitman, from the director of the original Ghostbusters and producer of the new Ghostbusters, is talking about more Ghostbusters that we're going to be getting. Talking about how there's already plans on for the next one. Gives a few hints as to what the new ones may be about, but right now, if the former director and one of the head producers of the new franchise is saying this, it probably holds a little clout. So what do you think he's just keeping things positive, trying to keep the name out there, or do you think this is a legit, like, there's going to be more Ghostbuster movies?
Well, here's the thing. I think with the name of Ghostbusters, that's something that you want to do good. We all want Ghostbusters to do good. I don't think a lot of us go into a movie and wanting it to do bad or not wanting to see more of it. Now with Ghostbusters, it's weird because you have such a half group of people. One side, they completely hated the new Ghostbusters, and then you have the other side that accepted it for who it was. In the newest one, you have Kate McKinnon, who is a great character, probably one of the best aspects of the new Ghostbusters movie, and Chris Hemsworth. Those two characters right there is something that I enjoyed. I didn't care for a lot more of the movie. The penultimate scene was pretty nice. I kind of like where it led up to. But as them making kind of a shared universe of Ghostbusters, I feel like they kind of messed that up when they didn't have this movie connect to the prior Ghostbusters. I felt that was weird in a sense. I feel like if you wanted to have a shared universe, why wouldn't you want to include your two original titles?
Yeah, and with the trailers coming out, the first one was even talked about the original cast or the original Ghostbusters, made reference to it, and then of course they're separating, and we get the cameos, and they're not even the character cameos. So we're like, what's going on? And like you said, there's potential for a franchise. Like, they wanted this to be like their own Marvel Cinematic DC, universe thing where they could create cartoons, they could do spin-offs, they had an all-male cast that they were going to do a separate movie from, and the female and the male cast were going to join together. But like you said, they should have combined the cast, and also if they didn't, moving forward, they should just take the best aspects, which I agree were Chris Hemsworth and Kate McKinnon. She ended up here and there, but she had to, because like nobody else was being funny in the movie.
Exactly.
So at first I was like, man, she's really going over the top. But as it went on, I'm like, she has to, because like she's got to carry this. Everybody else is on a smaller level of comedy right now. So I guess if they did move forward with another Ghostbusters after this, what would a good plot, or what would be like a summary you'd like to see?
Maybe since we're dealing with paranormal situations, why not try to throw the Flash aspect and maybe make a parallel universe? Why don't maybe something happened to where we saw them go through a big vortex kind of at the end, and that made their hair all gray and stuff like that.
Which was never explained why that actually happened. It just happened.
Exactly. Yeah. No reason why. You just got a Chris Hemsworth joke, and then she threw his sandwich. Not much. But yeah, why not go into a parallel universe to where the original two movies did happen? And maybe the movie's back based in the 80s or something like that. I can see them maybe going that way. But as far as them trying to bring in another full male cast, it's weird, because then they're kind of admitting a flaw of them doing Ghostbusters, that they just made. I'm wondering also if we had those cameos changed from irrelevant characters, maybe because they didn't have faith in the movie. It's all very weird, because they could have done all these things and we watched them choose not to.
Yeah, it feels like they're contractually obligated to be in the movie, but they're just like, yeah, I don't want to be my character, though. Like, they're just like, I don't want to be associated at this point.
Yeah, so I think if they were to do another Ghostbusters, it would be weird, because you would want to have to include the Ghostbusters movie you just made, which didn't make you a ton of money. So it's hard to try to make people want to come see your sequel to that. And switching up the cast again, that's a hard thing to do, especially. But I mean, like I said again, you have huge fans of Ghostbusters. I mean, my uncle is a diehard Ghostbusters fan. He loved this movie, and he'll probably love the next movie. And I know other people that are like that too. So it's a weird fan base.
It is. I mean, even as a kid growing up, I love the first one, and then as a kid, I absolutely loved the second one, and then now watching them both, I now like the second one is definitely not as, to me, is not as good as the first one, and I think it's a majority of people think, but it's still a good movie. But yeah, it is what it is. Those movies came out at their time. This movie, it had its own tone, which is different from the original two. So it would be weird to try to combine them at this point. And if anything, if they were to move forward, I would say maybe do a Netflix show, like not a movie, because I feel like the movie is kind of like Fantastic Four. Give it a little time and then go back to the movie. But I think we need to get some time at the movie theaters, and it should be like a TV show, like a 10 episode show, where not maybe they all run together. It's not like an individual episodic, but more a run through storyline that it's like a 10-hour movie, like Stranger Things type of thing.
Stranger Things is fantastic, so sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We'll see. Ivan Reitman, he's getting up there in age, so maybe he's losing it a little bit, but I doubt it. I am imagining they still want to create more Ghostbusters, like we said, for the franchise purposes. So we'll see as time goes on. Maybe in the next few months we'll find out some more stuff. But the next thing I'm sorry, we're gonna say.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, you never know. You never know. This is a name that people love, and it's perfect for October releases. I highly doubt this is ever really gone.
As long as Dan Aykroyd's still alive, selling his terrible vodka out of a skull, someone's going to be naming Ghostbusters to keep the name relevant. So definitely, we'll see. We'll go. So moving on from Ghostbusters, we talk about the Cars 3 trailer we got earlier this week. Pixar released a new teaser trailer, I guess you want to call it, because that's now a thing. We get teaser trailers before we get trailers, which is dumb. But this one showed Lightning McQueen, in a potential car wreck, flipping up. The animation was a lot more, looked more realistic than compared to the other cars. And so maybe we're finally, to me, what it looked like, we may be getting that Pixar heart-wrenching aspect of the plot that we haven't gotten Cars franchise that we get in every other one. Like Up, you're crying in the first 10 minutes, but we haven't gotten that in Cars. So I think that's what they're trying to bring, and maybe trying to stay in route with their fan base has grown up since the first movies come along up until now. So what was your reaction when you saw the new trailer?
Well, first of all, it almost didn't seem like a Cars movie. It seemed like I was watching a NASCAR.
It was real. It was so real.
Yeah, it was a very real thing. It surprised me, and then just Owen Wilson's breathing behind the car accident, I think, was a very good tone. The only thing I'm worried for is I felt like Cars did better to children rather than it did adults, like some Pixar movies do. Personally, Cars isn't exactly my type of movie. I actually like Cars 2 better because I'm a huge James Bond fan. So since they had all those James Bond references, I was lit up because I just thought it was funny. But I'm just wondering, do kids want this darker, maybe sequel that I think we're going to be getting? Finding Dory, which was a huge critical success, made you so sad every 5 minutes you saw Dory as a child. Every single time you saw Dory, you were just so sad for that little fish. Just keep swimming, Dory. Just keep swimming. You were so sad. And I mean, is it going to be weird? Are we going to be seeing Lightning McQueen become a different car? I mean, because these are cars. These aren't people. It's not like you.
Yeah, how do they fix them? Yeah, from a wreck like that, we've seen them get bumps and bruises, but not like a full-on wreck.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very strange thing. I'm wondering where they're going with it. But you're right. A very heartfelt. Pulling on those strings seems like where there's going. I just hope that it's going to be what they want, because it seems like they might be trying to pull on the people that liked it when it came out and that are maybe more adult now into their teenage years, things like that. So we'll see. I'm open to it, of course.
Yeah, it's different because, like you said, they've changed tones now at this point 2 different times. They had the original and more Pixar kid friendly, and then they had a second one. It was still kid friendly, but they changed the plot up a little bit. They kind of brought, like you said, the spy aspect, the James Bond kind of aspect to it. And then now this one is, adjusting to that, what it seems like, adjusting and making it a little more adult themed. When I think Cars, you're right. I think Cars should just be more of a kids movie. I enjoyed the first Cars the most out of all the first 2, and probably even this one at this point, just because of I guess you want to call it the innocence of the animation as opposed to the realistic what this new one looks like. It looks like you're watching like a Tron movie.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you had these characters with huge eyes, you know what I mean, and they're just very cute characters, very silly. Everybody was silly. I mean, you had Larry the Cable Guy in the movie, and that guy's a goofball. Period. You know, so I hope they keep it light because I don't think they need to exactly change the franchise. But it's Disney, and we're seeing all these live action movies go out now. So you can tell that they're trying to get to a more of a realistic tone. And I think that's where they're bringing Cars is just that realism.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand they want to switch it up. So I guess it's one of those things. Is the box office will show. I mean, they've lost. I guess the first one, the second one, obviously usually doesn't make as much as the original. But even a third one, you know, that's supposed to be just as good, if not better, than the first one. So we'll see if they can pull it off. You know, Pixar switching up the tone with the animation and maybe with the plot in regards to some heart wrenching that we haven't received. You know, we don't cry enough when we watch these Pixar movies as it is, right? So why not bring it into Cars? So yeah, I don't hate the idea. I'm just, you know, it's a curious decision. It's what Apple would say is a courageous decision. So
yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it unfolds for Pixar with the Cars 3. So that comes out June 16th for those who are marking their calendars as we speak. But the first or the next thing I want to talk about is an ongoing subject with Star Wars fans is when are we going to get this so-called Obi-Wan Kenobi movie? And we had a little update this week come out. Entertainment Weekly writer Anthony Breskinen, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he basically says rumors are swirling around at Lucasfilm that as to why Obi-Wan Kenobi solo film hasn't been greenlit. And according to the rumors, is the reason is Obi-Wan may not necessarily be done in the original saga, and there's still a chance that we may see Obi-Wan in an upcoming episode before he gets broken off into his own movie. So with that said, what do you think? Do you think that holds any water, or do you think this is just another one that's going to be swept under the rug, and we'll find out another story in a few months?
Well, I think there is a huge possibility that there could be a cameo of him in Rogue One. I can see them doing that. I mean, why not if you can, right? Even if it's a very small cameo, they didn't seem to mind to do it with cameos and stuff like that in 7. One thing about this movie, though, is it doesn't need to be a trilogy. If it does come out, it doesn't need to be a trilogy. I think a standalone movie will be fine. I think getting back Ewan McGregor is a great choice. I'd rather see him than anybody else, especially, you know, they're picking the young Han Solo, which is already cast, and we don't need that for Obi because Ewan's great. He's a great actor. I enjoy seeing him on the screen all the time. He's one of those things that kept the prequel movies alive and worth watching. So
he's the only one who can make those lines. Only one who can make those lines, you know, even seem realistic in any way.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you had Anakin over there just going full robot most of the time.
Are you an angel?
You know? yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a very, very strange thing. But like I said, this is Disney. Just like with Cars 3, Finding Dory, they're in it for the money. You can't deny it. It's Disney. Why not? You have the money to get more money. That's the thing. Is they have all the money in the world to make more money. And they're going to, you believe me, they're going to do it. So, but Obi-Wan's a great character. Every Star Wars nerd loves him. I don't think I've ever met anybody that's had a strong stance on how they hate Obi-Wan. You know, that's pretty non-existent.
I'm only jealous. I hate him. I'm jealous of his beard. I just work with what I can get. And Obi-Wan with his full-on beard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we get a full bearded Obi-Wan, just strike out everything I said about a trilogy. Give me a full bearded Obi-Wan trilogy. I'll accept.
I'll take it. You know, it'll be a 5 o'clock shadow in the first one, and it'll be like a mid-range one in the second, and he'll go full ZZ Top for the third one. So yeah, I wonder why this is taking so long for us to get any more, like that we're gonna see maybe Obi-Wan in this trilogy, this new trilogy or whatever, and as to why they're holding out for the new for Solo one, they went for Han Solo before Obi-Wan, which I guess, Han's maybe a more popular character, but Obi-Wan has a better, mysterious backstory that would, like, what happened, what did he do when he dropped Luke off and he stayed on Tatooine, and, what was he doing, the missions that he was doing and things like that, as opposed to watching Han and Chewie meet each other and him win the Millennium Falcon from Lando is basically what we're probably going to get.
Exactly, and it's true. Obi-Wan is one of those mysterious characters. You always see that meme on Facebook about the grandma having the picture of Ewan McGregor up on her mantle, thinking that's Jesus.
Jesus, yeah.
and just like Jesus, there's a huge gap of Obi-Wan's life that we have no clue what happened. It's a complete mystery. So I mean, why not explain it? I'm one of those people that slightly believe that maybe Rey has something to do with the Kenobis, maybe not. There's so many rumors swirling that movie. I mean, it's so unclear of what theory could actually be true now.
She could be Qui-Gon Jinn's daughter at this point with everything that's going around. Even though there is a possibility he definitely got with Anakin's mom in The Phantom Menace, because he was giving her some eyes and she's there's possibilities. I think.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know his particular set of skills. You know what I'm saying? So
it's true. You really need to get that midichlorian account, and he had to go to the source. So we'll see about some more rumors that we get. This one, like I said, is probably the most, I guess, not I want to call it concrete, but the most Jello-like news that we can take and say that it could come true. It could be something they're actually talking about over at Lucasfilm. But the next thing we want to move on to is we're going to talk about the good old Nintendo Classic that has anybody and everybody over the age of 25 fevering for that old school Nintendo that they either have not purchased through Craigslist yet, that they need to get right away. So Nintendo, of course, releases an awesome product but fails to make enough of it, so there's of course a high demand and low supply, so everyone's buying them, selling them on eBay at this point in time. I guess my first question is, did you buy yourself a Nintendo Classic, or do you plan on getting yourself one at all?
I actually have a surprise for you today. I actually have my Nintendo Classic right
here.
Oh,
jealous.
Yeah, so you can check it out. It's pretty, I mean, the controller, stands about the same height. Fits in my hand real well, and it's extremely light. I mean,
yeah, I've seen the unboxings. I was like, man, that thing is like the size of a cell phone, basically.
Yeah, it almost feels hollow. It really does. It really almost feels hollow. It's so light.
They've opened it up, and it's just like one little what is it? A little circuit board in there.
Yeah. So, but other than that, it's really fun to play. Fantastic save suspend point system. Wherever you are in the game, you just hit the reset button, and then it kind of resets the console, but it leaves a little screen with angel wings on it, like the Mario wings, and you just press down and you just save it like that, and it's fantastic. I'm already on World 5 of Super Mario 3 because everybody loves Super Mario 3. You have to love Super Mario 3.
That's all I play. Luckily I have a Super Nintendo, and so I have Mario All-Stars, so I get to play 1, 2, and 3 in the Lost Levels, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I actually had All-Stars 2 as a kid growing up. It was one of my favorite games, alongside with Super Mario World. That's another fantastic game. But one thing to bring up is on the packaging of the box, which I actually should have brought with me, on the top of the box it says Classics right on top. So hopefully this plural, classics mean that we will get the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, the Super or the N64.
Yeah. That would be fantastic. I mean, 64, sign me up. I don't care what kind of line it is. I'm down. I actually had to stand in line for about 5 hours at a Walmart just sitting on the tile. It was really last minute. I was supposed to go to another Walmart, and then the kid I called, he was just like, we don't have any of them, and I can't find them, and like gave me this really janky answer. And
he's probably trying to snipe it for himself. That's what he's doing. He's deterring everybody away.
That's probably exactly what happened. I went to the Walmart in Brighton, Colorado. They only had 6. I was the last person in line, so it was pretty much my duty the whole night to just turn away all of these people since I was the last in line. And I mean,
you're just like that guy. You're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like we got 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. And I saw so many different types of people come up too. I think that was something that was really cool. To kids, to older. I mean, I had a group of 3 elderly people in the line, and they weren't even with kids.
They're trying to get down on the Tetris.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought it was very cool. Even things like the local thugs came up to me, and I was a little scared. They're like, "Hey, you got that NES?" And I was like, "I got the NES."
You're like, "I don't have any Jordans on either."
Yeah, I'm like, "I'm pretty broke. I got plastic."
Yeah.
But other than that, it's really great. The controller length, though, you can't see it in my shop, but it is a very short cord.
I've heard it's like you basically are like 2 feet in front of the TV playing that thing.
Yeah, I have an HDMI cable, and this is just dangling off my entertainment signal all the time because I just don't have enough space for it.
Have you seen the alternative, the controllers that you can buy online, of course, or the adapters to give it like the extra length, the original length of the cord?
Yeah, I have, and those, just like the console, are just as hard to find. I went to go actually order the wireless Nyko controller about an hour after I got this, and it said currently sold out, will be available again December 31st.
Like after Christmas, suck it.
Yeah, exactly. So right now it still is a very old school, pass the controller type of thing going on, but I do very much appreciate it. I hope Nintendo very much keeps going on this, realize how much people want it, and starts bringing out those other consoles. I mean, just picture if in 10 years we have a GameCube that's this big.
That's what I thought too. I was like, what about the GameCube? That'd be insane.
Yeah, that'd be so cool, packed with, things like Double Dash and Resident Evil 4, all those great games, So I think this is a huge opening for Nintendo to grab something that a lot of other companies are doing, because places like Atari, which I actually have an Atari shirt on right now,
nice.
and Sega at Games makes those consoles for them, the one that you see in store.
I actually, every time I bump into an Urban Outfitters or whatever, I'm like, is that a Sega? I was like, man, I'm always tempted. I was like, either I buy the $60 shirt or I buy the $60 Sega. I was like, I think I might have to go with the Sega next time.
And they're pretty. They don't run as well. What's cool about this little guy, it's got HDMI. So HDMI is really the selling point on this, I think.
How do you have HDMIs on the Wii's, and they got them on the Classic now?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that hilarious? It's so funny to see what Nintendo does sometimes, because they
are the company that shoots themselves on the foot repeatedly.
Absolutely. They just have a great idea, and then they look at it and they go, okay, let's cut some logic out of this. Let's cut some logic out of it, put some filler in there, and let's try to sell a product. And I mean, they're still alive. They're still a company. They're not like Sega and Atari that just eventually went to games, and the creator Atari isn't really doing anything right now, things like that. So but I love it. I want to see more, definitely, and you can catch me definitely playing Castlevania most of the time as well. Love Castlevania.
I was going to ask you, what's the one you've been playing the most other than Mario? Castlevania action?
Castlevania 1, definitely, and I'm going to say probably I'm recently playing Final Fantasy again because of the release of Final Fantasy 15, which I absolutely love. That game is fantastic. I am a huge Final Fantasy fanboy personally, so take it with a grain of salt, because I love the whole series.
I never really played them, but I never had an opinion one way or the other. It's just one of those games that kind of flew under the radar for me. But I mean, I definitely would give it a try. I think maybe if I did get the Classic, then start from the beginning, go all the way through all the consoles and hit all the versions, maybe.
Yeah, that is some time. If you do that, I'll give you a cupcake, because that's some time.
I like chocolate with white frosting if it ever comes up.
Right.
But But yeah, so no, it's awesome that you got a chance to, or like you do own it at this point. You've got to enjoy it. So yeah, maybe Nintendo will catch on and be like, okay, we have the Nintendo with 30 games. Let's put out the Nintendo with 60 games, and then we'll put out the Super Nintendo with 30 games. And they'll just double bait everybody at this point in time. But we'll take it. I'll wait to the second version and get the one with more games and more features, like it is with everything else in the world. But
Yeah.
a side note from another thing that Nintendo was talking about this week is that they're trying to open up a Nintendo Land like in Universal's Universal in Orlando with like Harry Potter and The Simpsons and Transformers. So like, do you think Nintendo has a creative enough theme that they can compete with those other parks that are going to be there, especially Harry Potter?
Now, it's very 50-50 to see if they can actually do this. But here's your selling point. Life-size Mario levels that you can run through yourself.
Oh, wow. You've cracked the code. You cracked it.
That sell tickets. I mean, you won't even have to tell people about it. You won't have to know about any other ride. I mean, I want to jump on a little Goomba's head, and I want to headbutt some blocks. You know what I mean? Like, put me in that action. However it is they can present it, maybe like a little like type of virtual reality, maybe an AR type of thing, whatever it is. Maybe we're actually jumping on bricks, things like that. If they can figure something out like that, I think that'd be great. As far as their other properties like Zelda, that's going to be a very much like an environmental thing, more of a lore than
almost
actually an activity.
Almost like a Hobbiton kind of area thing.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe like the Master Sword that you take the picture with, trying to pull it out of the stone, things like that. I can also see a recent game that they came out with that had a lot of success with Splatoon. And I can see them maybe, which is pretty much just a game of them like running around with paint guns, and you try to paint like walls, and then you try to like paint characters. And I mean, if they give me a life-size Splatoon gun and I could just shoot paint over everything, I mean, another ticket seller, so, but we'll just have to see, because like you said, Nintendo really loves shooting themselves in the foot, and they can have a great idea and then just totally screw it up, so.
Yeah, and all your ideas are great, but like we said, Nintendo's always got one in the chamber waiting to hit their foot with. So, I agree, if they can really get creative with the like the main ones like Mario and Zelda. Maybe I'm trying to think of any others, even like Castlevania, because with the older crowd, like they get the Marios with the kids, but like Castlevania or Double Dragon, minus the assaulting a woman at the beginning of the game, but the whole Double Dragon aspect.
You have to cut that part out.
Yeah, we have to just have a disclaimer. Says, yeah, kids, sorry, we had to cut that part out for obvious reasons. But yeah, no, if they get creative with the Mario thing, like you said, that's amazing. If they could do something like that, that will get my interest. But if it's like a Legoland where you just walk through basically and you get to see a setup of like a Mario running through his thing, which that's fine. You might as well just set up a museum or another thing. It didn't warrant a whole theme park for that. So they'd have to get super creative, especially being that competitive area with Harry Potter, The Simpsons, and Transformers. So yeah, they'll need to step it up if they are going to do that. But the last thing that I have for me to talk about before we get to your topics, we have the Power Rangers reboot pictures that came out this week. We had Lionsgate released Rita Repulsa and Alpha 5. Apparently concept art for Alpha 5, but who the hell releases concept art from the beginning? There, that's going to be the final character. But rumors of always are swirling with the pictures that if you look at it closely, that Rita looks like she probably was originally the Green Ranger, and that maybe she was once maybe a good Ranger and then turned bad for some reason. But like in the show, Tommy's not the Green Ranger, but he's a good guy. But then Rita recruits him, and he's a bad guy before he turns good again. So what were your thoughts on, Rita? We've seen a few pictures, but what were your thoughts on the Alpha 5 picture?
So with Alpha Range thing, because first off, if I tell you to recreate Alpha 5, it's probably going to look weird anyway, right? Yeah. I mean, if you asked me to recreate Alpha 5, I'd probably throw you some weird stuff too, honestly. I think it matches the suits oddly enough. We've seen the suits. It has that very metallic, razor type of like metal look. The eyes, though, those eyes, it's a very weird thing. Throwing everybody off most, right, is those big lanterns that he has
Oh yeah.
on his face. I also have questions of Bill Hader actually being Alpha 5. Like, is he going to have a really high-pitched voice? Are they going to, like, put it through, like, a type of auto-tune? Because, I mean, it can't be just Bill Hader's voice, right? That'll be terrible.
Yeah, and Bill Hader and the guy who played I can't think of his name on Parks and Rec, but him and another guy did the voice for BB-8 for The Force Awakens, and they basically use like an iPad app, like a little app that you mess around with the sounds and the frequencies and everything like that. So that's how they basically came up with BB-8's voice using Bill Hader's and this other guy's voice. So I wonder if that's going to be the same concept that they'll do for this one, or if it'll just be an altered version of Bill Hader's voice, which he can actually do a lot of good impressions. So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually did just let him go free and they just altered his voice a little bit.
And Bill Hader is someone that I can personally say I would trust with this. I personally think Bill Hader is a really great actor. I love Trainwreck. A Superbad, he has a great role. And what's funny is, even though it's very minimal, one of his most performances that I remember is just that beginning of Pineapple Express.
This is the bee's knees.
Nailed it. Yeah,
Item 9.
yeah. So I absolutely have faith in Bill Hader, and I mean, honestly, I have a question for you. Maybe is this maybe the first offsetting news about Power Rangers? Because I mean, everything else seems pretty much okay, right?
Yeah, everyone had a pretty good reaction to the trailer. Everyone's kind of, as the pictures came out, of course, there are skeptical people, but for the most part, people are like, yeah, you know what, it's a new reboot. Of course, things are going to be different. And so with the Alpha 5, yeah, I was like, man, this is different, but is this a reboot? The Zords are going to look different. The suits look different. Apparently, I'm more curious to see what Zordon's going to look like. How they're going to do, Bryan Cranston's floating face at this point in time, what's going to happen, how they're going to do that. But, yeah, I agree. This is, like you said, it's a reboot. It's going to be different. It was a little jarring at first, so I think, yeah, this has the most, I guess, what you want to call negative reaction. But, people, Alpha 5 was never a favorite of anybody's. He wasn't like that character, like, you changed Alpha 5? It's not like that. Yeah, it was just more like, oh, that's Alpha 5? All right. That's I think that's pretty much how a lot of people's reaction is.
Yeah. Other than that, though, Elizabeth Banks, as we said, Bryan Cranston. It seems like they're making good choices for the film. I love Elizabeth Banks. Walk of Shame. I'm pretty sure she's the creator of Pitch Perfect.
She's at least directing and creating one of the two. Yeah.
Yeah, so I absolutely have faith in her. She's one of my favorite actresses. I love everything she's in, and obviously I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan. I love the show. I think what will be weird, though, is that we're going to finally see Bryan Cranston with no glasses, no mustache, no like Heisenberg beard, and it'll just be bald, all bald, big floating baldness.
Yeah, it's been. I don't think we've ever seen a full hairless. Are they gonna keep those eyebrows too, or are gonna go eyebrowless? Because I don't think Zordon had eyebrows at all. So Bryan Cranston's probably gonna go all in on this and probably go no eyebrows as well.
And it'll be interesting if maybe, like how you're saying, a lot of people are speculating that she either was the Green Ranger, turns into the Green Ranger, very many different aspects. Well, maybe it even dives deeper into the origin, like how we know a lot of reboots do. And maybe Zordon and Rita were a thing. Maybe they had a past together. There's so many possibilities that the movie can open up that the show, kids don't really care about that. So why ever bring it up?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the show, Zordon's like this 82-year-old man who's just got a floating head, and Rita was like this nice younger woman, I guess. But in this movie, it could work. The ages they could be similar enough. So yeah, I can definitely see that. So we'll see. We're definitely gonna be getting more releases as time goes on, because they still got to see what the Zords look like. We gotta see what we got glimpses of the Zords, but not full on pictures. And then we got to see what Zordon's going to look like as well. And I think someone had mentioned that they said they heard a toy, one of the toys say while they're in the Zord, the Megazord, said that's a lot of gold. So I wonder if Goldar is going to be making an appearance in this movie as well. So that'd be pretty sweet.
And that's smart for the studio to keep things a mystery, especially for this movie. We see too many times trailer give away way too much of the movie.
Every time, almost.
Every time. It's almost becoming an epidemic. And I actually know people that actually refuse to watch trailers these days because just so much, especially if you have a movie that is questionable, that they don't know if it's going to be good in theaters, they'll really put their golden moments in the trailer. And that could just be so much better saved for the movie. But yeah, if Goldar's in it, I mean, that's going to be fantastic, especially if nobody expects it.
Hopefully they don't backfire by going too nostalgic and just like in the new Ninja Turtle movies where you had everything that everybody's ever wanted in Ninja Turtle movies, and then we just get a shitty Ninja Turtle movie. So
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but it's just like they could have done so much more of that. So that's my 2 cents on the new Ninja Turtles movie that just came out. But the last few things we'll be talking about is the what you want to talk about, the Thor Ragnarok that came out. I actually got a picture that we can put up here.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. It looks great.
There we go. Good old Thor. It's a small area of it, but yeah, the good old Thor. From where you can see, big old 80s vibe. If I can find a smaller one, you can go ahead and talk about it real quick, and then I'm gonna try to find a smaller version that everyone can see.
Bright picture. It's bringing out the colors of everything. You get a lot of lime greens and purples. What's cool about that picture is that they turned every single dark shadow into dark purple, which really makes that picture pop. It's a leaked image from a Thailand promo, oddly enough, and it's so funny because you see this picture and you're like all aboard the hype train. Like everybody was like so questionative about this movie. I think hearing the casting, hearing that Hulk's going to be in it, it's going to be a Planet Hulk storyline derivative, and now you see this poster and there's no Mjolnir, there's no hammer. He's got dual blades. You got Hulk that's full Hulk.
He's got the helmet. He's got the helmet on. Yeah, the Planet Hulk helmet on.
Yeah, he's got the whole armor. You know, we finally have Thor in his helmet, which I know a lot of people have wanted for a long time. It's a new helmet. So I think Guardians of the Galaxy told Marvel that they don't need to be scared about releasing what they want. And I think they saw the past Thors. They realized that they were good movies at the time. But when you compare them to the whole Marvel universe, they're very small. They're very small movies. They're really not memorable. Mostly, you remember Thor and Loki from those movies. You don't really remember a lot of other things. I mean, even Natalie Portman now, they're trying to push out of the frame as much as they can. And I think it's going to be a brilliant movie. I think it's going to have to do with a lot of Hulk. And I think they're smart to adapt this and try to help Thor out in a way to make his movie maybe the best, especially if it might be his last standalone movie. We're not sure, but
I think so. I mean, you said the first 2 movies, like, they're not as memorable. I would say they're the bottom tier of all the Marvel movies. Like, they made them because they had to. They had to have his storyline thread go through, like, for Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron and so on. So, like, they had to make the movies to establish a storyline, but they were probably the least popular out of all of them. And so they realized they need to step up their game. They need to change the vibe of the movie. Yeah, they've been, you know, the first one was more interdimensional. The second one was, I guess, what you want to call it, I guess grounded, even though they're on like different planets and stuff. But now this one's more like we're going to be on a completely different planet. This is going to be a completely different vibe. Like you said, Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's add some color, some spice to this movie because it's kind of been a little blandish with the tone that they kind of selected for the first 2 movies. So I'm excited to see it. Even the first posters they had out had that like 80s He-Man like vibe to it with the whole like the way the title looked and things like that. So I'm excited to see, you know, what else to come up with. Chris Hemsworth, you know, he's a great actor. I like him in most of the things he's been in. He's a good comedic actor, especially on SNL. I don't know if you've seen him on SNL, So I think they should play up that some more, and let Thor be the Star Lord of Thor. Basically, let him step up his comedic game as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see the movie. I'm not sure when it comes out, but I think it's supposed to be this next summer.
Yeah, I believe it is this next summer. That I think that fits the bill about the time frame. And one other thing is that, like you were saying, with Chris Hemsworth being that comical relief, I think that'll be smart, because I don't think we'll see Bruce Banner at all in this movie. I don't think we'll really see him. If it at least follows a little bit true to the Planet Hulk, we shouldn't be seeing Bruce Banner. It should be mostly Hulk. I know for movie aspects, they'll probably change that, because in the Planet
Mark
Hulk,
Ruffalo's got to have his pretty face out there, right?
yeah. At some point, even if it's just a tiny little bit at the beginning of the movie, but I know that at some point he should start having trouble actually going back to Bruce Banner if it starts to follow comics. Another interesting thing about this movie is that I think we're going to see a very regular, normal Thor, with maybe without his powers, a Thor that struggles with trying to be the Thor that he thinks he is, because he's a very confident person. He wears it so boldly in all of his movies, and I think in this movie he's going to finally realize that he is just regular in a sense. Eventually, he is just a regular person, and he has to prove himself just like we all do, rather than go out there with his hammer and conquer the day. So I think it'll be a very interesting movie.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping they can switch up the story, because we got the origin story, and then we had a little bit of continuation, and now this is like full on into it. Let's have fun with the story. So we'll just have to wait and see. So what was the last thing that you wanted to talk about too?
I wanted to talk about The Mummy. The teaser trailer, like we did with Cars, because yeah, like you said, we have teaser trailers now. The Mummy looks like it's going to be really good, led by Tom Cruise. I can't remember the actress that's playing the Mummy. I know that she's
Sophia Boutella from Kingsman.
Yeah, and she's the little Tink Tink. She's little Tink Tink with
Yeah,
metal legs.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she's also in Star Trek Beyond, I believe. And I think it's going to be. I hope it's brilliant. I hope it's a really good movie. Recently, they told us that they wanted to have that shared universe, like Marvel, like how obviously the Ghostbusters are attempting to do, which I don't know if they actually will. But it's going to be very interesting to see if they pull this off. I want them to. I think Universal Monsters is a big part of my childhood. My birthday is October 28th. So I was like always a Halloween kid. Every birthday party.
You got the candy bags for your birthday gifts. You're like, no, I actually wanted things, not candy, for my birthday.
Yeah, all my birthdays were costume parties and things like that. So I'm very excited. I hope this pulls off. We see a shot of Russell Crowe in the trailer.
Is Dr. Jekyll? Is that who he's playing?
Yeah, he's playing Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So hopefully they're taking a lesson from these movies, and they're going to be trickling in introductions of the character without full-blown, let's make a movie about these people. We don't need a movie about Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. That is the perfect character to weave in and out of these movies, I think. And we even have a confirmed Invisible Man that's speculating to have Johnny Depp in it. So if that comes to fruition, you're having a big budget franchise with big budget actors on topics that everybody knows, which is great. But what I question is, you're going to have those certain characters that are going to be weird to try to reinvent, like Frankenstein, for instance. We've seen so many Frankenstein movies. I wonder if they're going to try to push him
or Dracula.
I can see probably a Swamp Thing movie a little bit more than I can Frankenstein or Dracula. But yeah, characters like Frankenstein or Dracula, we've seen them so much. We just got Dracula Untold, which was really 50-50 reviewed. People loved it. People hated it.
That was supposedly sort of supposed to start this whole Universal, but it didn't pan out at all like they thought. So they're like, scratch that. We'll start over something else.
Yeah, exactly. So coming off the heels of that, it shows you that maybe their direction also is a little muddled and they're not exactly sure. But if they can pull off this Mummy movie, then and they really introduced Russell Crowe. I think Russell Crowe will be a bigger key to this movie than what we think, especially if he's trying to really purely fix himself, and he really is an innocent person when he's not Mr. Hyde, and his willpower and his mission is to maybe try to fix these monsters, even maybe try to help these people that are tormented, try to do these things, and he maybe bands together this monster squad like we've seen in the 80s, which I love. Monster Squad, you actually did
just did a review of it. Yeah, one of my favorite ones from the 80s as well.
Yeah, that movie is so funny too because it's so offensive too. The beginning of the movie is just so offensive. It's something that you wouldn't see.
The slurs and the things that come out of these kids' mouths, like, oh, they would never even do that. They don't even think about doing that nowadays.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're just throwing out vulgarities. He pretty much calls like his best friend's sister kind of slutty, and
the faggots being used like liberally throughout the movie.
Yeah, it is. And it's so funny because I did just watch that this year, and I was watching it with my friend, and I was like, man, that does not happen these days. But if they do go into the direction of Monster Squad, something like that, supposedly they want to have Van Helsing actually be one of the last movies. So really, we would get introduced to all these monsters, maybe even grow attached to them, and then Van Helsing is almost a bad guy, to where we are connected to these monsters as a viewer, and now we have Van Helsing trying to slay all these monsters, which will be a very weird tone because it's like, do we want to like Van Helsing? He's obviously going to be a badass, but I don't want him to kill the Frankenstein that I've grown to love in the past 2 years, or the Invisible Man. It'll be a very cool concept that I hope they pull off.
That's a great point. I really hope they do that because, like you said, that's an emotional tug right there because we watch the next few movies getting attached to these characters, and then we find out, oh yeah, there's somebody who hunts them down, for not only pleasure but just because they can, and so it would be one of those emotional attachments. Do I like Van Helsing? Do I hate him? Do I like these creatures? Do I not? And going back to what you're saying with the whole universe itself, I laughed when I heard that Universal was jumping on the bandwagon. I was like, oh. Yeah. I just thought Monster Squad all over again. I was like, they're just gonna make a Monster Squad movie, and they're gonna be laughed out of the universe, the studio universe area. But once they start getting Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe, now Johnny Depp, you're like, geez, like they're really like stacking them up at this point.
They're trying, really trying.
Yeah, so they're using that theme park money to pay off some of these high debts they're gonna have for these salaries, I think. But I'm curious now. At first, the Mummy teaser, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna think, but it looked pretty cool. Tom Cruise sprinting. What else? You can't get a teaser trailer without Tom Cruise sprinting anywhere.
Absolutely, and it looks like a movie. There will be some light comedy in it. But it looks like a movie that will be portrayed mostly serious. We see the trailer this Sunday, so there will be more news on this probably as people watch this. So I hope it very much delivers. I hope that they didn't set up a pretty decent teaser trailer for me to watch the trailer and then all of a sudden be bummed out about it. Or maybe they throw in something that's kind of off the wall, But hey, if this pans out and their amusement park money works out, then maybe Nintendo will finally be on front once they have their amusement park, right? Maybe they'll finally get on that wagon and be like, I got amusement park money, and we'll start seeing high-end. I mean, supposedly even wants to get into movies. They got a Detective Pikachu movie coming out, which
I saw that.
I think that's so weird. It's such an oddball choice.
Now that will be interesting to see how it unfolds, especially with the new movie. With the first movie, of course, has to set the tone with all the rest of the movies, box office wise. So we'll just have to see how Universal sets up this universe after the first movie. Once we get the trailer this Sunday for the full trailer, so we'll get a little better idea of how we feel about the movie. But from the teaser, I didn't hate it. I mean, I wasn't like fully blown away. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in seeing more. So let's see more on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. That double iris eye trick.
Yeah.
That was a cool thing, and something to point out is, if they can throw in a lot of little things like that, I think those are the things that make a movie succeed. You know what I mean? Let's bring in a bunch of new elements to the Mummy that none of us would think of. You know what I mean?
It's like that one part in Suicide Squad. The only cool part in Suicide Squad is when the Enchantress hand like comes around, she does that whole flip and like turns into the Enchantress. I was like, that was a sweet shot.
Yeah, that was badass.
So yeah, you're right. If they
Yeah.
have things like that, that will distinguish them away from like Marvel and DC at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope they keep the movies. It seems like the movies maybe somewhat in the past. We're unsure yet. It seems like it could be, but then at the same time, it seemed like it might not be. A very, very 50-50 thing. This Sunday, we will know probably for sure if it's a movie straight set into the past or if it's a more modern day thing. So which is very important.
If it's in the past, then we might run into Indiana Jones fighting off some Nazis. So we'll see.
Sold.
We'll take it. Well, that was everything that I had for us to speak about today. Unless you had anything else that you want to talk about real quick.
No, I just want to let you know I really appreciate you having me on the show. I had a great time. I hope we're able to definitely do this again. Hopefully I'll be able to bring a colleague along. But yeah, once again, congratulations to the 1 year doing the Movie News podcast. I know how much work it is, and keep it going, definitely, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, thanks again for taking the time to come on today. And thanks to everybody who's watching right now live. We got a few of you watching, so thanks to everybody who tuned in tonight and hanging in there over the last few weeks as I decided to lay on the couch and play video games as opposed to make videos. So everyone has a little hiatus, right? That unplanned hiatus. You're like, oh, this will be a week. I'll just take a few days off. Oh, it's been 3.5 weeks. I should probably do a video of some sort. So,
I know that better than anybody, man. Like I said, I already have like 8 hours into Final Fantasy 15, and I have done like 2 main missions. So I mean, I am the king of lazy. I know how it is. King of procrastination. It is a very troublesome thing, and you just gotta persevere through it.
Yep, I'm currently trying to get through that right now, so we're doing a good job with tonight. So again, thanks for everybody for tuning in today. Also, let everybody know where they can find you and where they can listen to your podcast as well.
Awesome. Well, Geeks Between Worlds is on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play Music. Check out our social media links. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We are trying to do the video thing. Right now, we are purely audio. We hope to have Carlos on our podcast pretty soon. So please be on the lookout for that. But yeah, find us wherever you can. Just search it, Geeks Between Worlds. We're in pretty much most podcast services around the globe. So hopefully you don't have to search too much. That's the goal. That's the goal. So
no problem. We'll have all the links in the comment section or in the description area. So those who are interested, which it should be everybody, the link will be in there. You can go shoot right over to their website and check out their podcast. I highly recommend that you do it. And I also am excited to join their podcast because I as well would like to not only do the video, but do some straight audio stuff as well. So I'd like to jump into both realms. But as for me, like I said, I had taken my little bit of a hiatus, but now we're back. We've rested up. That was my winter hibernation as a bear. So now I'm ready to get back to it. So we're going to continue with the podcast. We're going to have our Now You Know bios and perceptive retrospectives coming out each week. So that will continue. So stay tuned for those. But you can find me on Twitter at Circus of Time, on Instagram at Circus of Time, and on YouTube at Circus of Time Review as well. But like I said, thanks everybody for tuning in today, and be excellent to each other. We'll talk to you later.
Awesome. See you.